Hello, and welcome to cEDH TV gameplay. Today we're joined by me and Pontus,
Hello.
and also Mons, and the well-spoken Rhetoric.
Hello.
Right, so today Rhetoric is playing Where's Sauron? It's still Grixis. There's some, looks like Dargo elements. Yeah, looks like Turbo Grixis with not a good commander. I'm just kidding. Interesting big amass stuff. I don't know if you're actually casting Sauron in this deck, but if you are, he's spooky. And other than that, it looks like your basic Grixis turbo pile with a bit of extra interaction. Looks fun.
So Mons is bringing some weird Absan pile I've never seen before. It looks like just worse Renota with like some weird synergy cards. I don't get this really. Maybe it does something, maybe just combat damage. I don't know, man.
So this is Pontus deck. We're playing Voltron Dargo. The plan is to put Dargo into play by sacrificing everything you have, nothing but Dargo, because that's the only way to roll. Then maybe Tymna down the line later to draw some cards. In general, it's just a bunch of weird stuff like Facebreaker, Orcish Bowmaster, Opposition Agent, really bad cards, who knows what they're doing. By the way, you can sacrifice things and do cool damage with Mayhem Devil. Maybe go infinite, but no, not really. It's just Voltron.
All right, so this is Kodama Silas, because we know that Snookse is not going to cast Silas Wren at all. It's just splashing black with the Simic colors so that we get access to more tutors, Meme Bet, Demonic Tutor, all that good stuff, and Necropotence, which I know is a favorite of Snookse. So classic stuff we're kind of seeing here, and no surprises. Well, I just said Simic colors.
I have a feeling that Rhetoric isn't able to be mean. Oh well.
That's what it feels like.
I gotta do it right on the spot. Yeah.
This is kind of slow. Card draw isn't like super heavy in this pod, so that like a turn 2 Fair Mastermind with 1 mana open is kind of meh. And I would want to keep up Endurance with Fintorn Elves anyway for like an early Dargo win, so we're gonna go to second 7. No colored mana. Talisman to get going, and even then, it's not impressive. Let's go to 6. These hands are not being very nice today, huh? Mostly just looking for some kind of draw engine or just good amount of mana with a follow-up. We're not seeing it at the moment, so let's go to 5. We're not too interested in going too low with this deck. Like with this hand, we have options. We can Mana Vault on turn 1, turn 2 Wish Claw with another land to do something like... What can we do? Not much. Would be 1 land and a colorless. At least we'll get to cast the Fairy Mastermind. I think we're gonna have to probably keep this. This deck doesn't really like going that low because we can't really rely on wheels past 5. Think we're keeping here. We want the 2 lands. We want the Mastermind to start getting some draws going. Hopefully, the Vault to accelerate some mana and the Wishclaw for options. The Mystic Subdual is of course amazing, but and it would shut down something like Tayam deck, but we can't really just keep that early on. The Eldritch Evolution doesn't really do much here, so we're gonna bottom these 2. And then we just have to hope for some good draws.
Let's look at the starting 7. This hand is a great example of how tempted I am by Ragavan. It's not bad. Am I tempted by Ragavan? No. So this is a pretty solid hand, but I can do better than solid. If I was going first, I would consider this, but this is just a turn 1 Ragavan Chromox and a turn 2 wheel. And while that is pretty fine, it's not a forcing wheel, so I don't actually disrupt my opponents at all. So I think I'm just mulliganing this. It's definitely keepable, but my bar is a bit higher, especially in this deck that can mulligan very low. So let's go to second 7. This hand is, funnily enough, very similar. In this hand, instead of Ragavan working overtime, we have Esper Sentinel working overtime. The only difference is Esper Sentinel is probably even worse in this pod. I know Snookse does run more artifacts than you would expect from a Sultai midrange deck, so it's not completely dead, because Mons is not going to feed it at all, probably. And Rhetoric probably will, so we have 2 players who will probably give me a card draw. But I don't think it's going to be that much value long term. And as it stands, our only plan is turn 1 Esper Sentinel into turn 2 Mana Vault plus Skirk. That's like not terrible, but also not that great. So let's continue being greedy and go to 6. This 6 is probably the best hand we have had so far, so I'm happy about going to 6 here. This is just a turn 1 gamble for Mana Crypt, and cast a Felwar Stone off it, into a turn 2 Dranith. But we're early enough that the turn 2 Dranith probably shuts down all our opponent's commanders. Mons could cast the turn 1 Tayam, I guess, but I don't think that's likely. And then, on top of Dranith being there to just stop all commanders, we do have the Wheel of Fortune or Wheel of Misfortune rather, so still not the first wheel, but at least we've gotten a bit more value from it this time. The gamble could be bad, of course, but I feel like both Dranith and Wheel of Misfortune are viable enough game plans that I'm fine with either of those going and just going for the other one. So I'm keeping the 6, and let's see how nice gamble is to us. Bottoming Final Fortune. Go ahead, Rhetoric.
All right, let's take our first 7. Okay, the One Ring, Gemstone Caverns, Underworld Breach, not bad. But I don't know, I think we can maybe do better. We've got Ruthless Technomancer. The One Ring is great, but we're just going to kind of sit back. And we can't even play it on turn 1. We could play Dragon Rage Channeler. Underworld Breach is, again, it's very tempting, but there's really nothing to get us there. So, and we have this awkward 2 swamp creature. So let's go ahead and take our second 7. All right. For this one, we have Demonic Consultation. We have also Entomb, Mox Opal. This is better because I think we can, well, we can't really do anything on turn 1 except play Mana Vault, and that's not terrible. But we could put something in our graveyard anyways, maybe Thassa's Oracle or something like that, because we could cast Sauron later. And we have the mana later on, most likely. This Mox Opal is a little awkward just because we can't really do anything with it until we get another artifact. We get some card draw and discards with Ledger Shredder. I don't know. It's debatable. I think we're going to go ahead and pitch it to get something maybe a little faster because this is Turbo Grixis, as Sniske politely said. Okay, so for this 6, this looks a little bit better. We have Douthy Woodwalker once again and Orcish Bowmasters. Now, we have 2 rocks and Command Tower, so I'm a bit afraid that we're just going to sit there again. Do we go for 5? I mean, we could always do a little bit better. What we're doing here is gambling on the fact that we get another land off the top of our library, and then we can cast these 2 later on. And I don't know if I like playing games that are based on hope, so I'm going to try to go to 5. Okay, this is serviceable. We have a Mystic Remora, which we could just be blown out simply by, getting mental misstepped here. I'm seeing at least one other blue player, so it's not impossible. Mirror Trap is good for us because we're not going to have much mana to work with in the beginning. We also have Fellwar Stone, which is solid for, another land if we can draw that, but it's really not looking the best at this point. I'm a little sad about this keep, but I'm going to go ahead and bottom Delay, and I'm also going to bottom, because I don't have access to black just yet. Oof, that's tough. I don't know. I'm a bit debating on this. Let's see. Those 2... Let's keep Imp Seal just in case we get that. And this is kind of gross, but I'm gonna, I don't know. Let me think for a minute. Okay, super difficult decision, but I'm going to actually bottom Imperial Seal because if I keep Underworld Breach in my hand, perhaps I will draw something. This is a bit based on hope as well, but if Mystic Remora gets countered, we might be able to cast it again from our graveyard if we play that. Get some value in the late game. So we kept 5. It's all right. Go ahead, Mons.
This is a sad starting 7. Not gonna keep it. I don't like using Vamp Tutor to solve a hand like this, so no. We do have some mana acceleration. Carpet of Flowers doesn't do much this pod. We have a Vamp Tutor again. Can't cast a Vamp Tutor unless we have like an island coming out. I don't think we're gonna have a turn 1 island from the guys. This feels like a hand you could keep, but it also feels like a hand that is risky, and it develops slowly, and I want to develop a little bit faster, so we're going to go down to 6. We could use Enlightened Tutor for a mana Crypt on turn 1 and then a turn 2 Archon of Emeria. However, we're lacking color mana here afterwards, and then we're basically using Recruit of the Guard to find what? A dork? Urza Saga will eventually turn into a Chromox. No, sorry, it can't be Chromox, but a Sol Ring or something of the sort. We do play a pretty healthy amount of lands in this deck, so we should be good on our draws. I guess Recruiter of the Guard will find something we can use, like Bird of Paradise would be the sad outcome for it, but still, that might be what we need. I have a feeling that if we're gonna Mulligan again, we're not getting so much better than this, and we're already pretty low, so I'm actually gonna be a little bit sad, but I like to play safe. I like to make sure that I have something that like holds and works. With Mana Crypt and a few other potential lands, hopefully, we should be able to get Tayam into play. We don't really have a way to build our Tayam up strong here, but I'm gonna hope for the best on this one and actually keep it. Archon of Emeria is quite key in making sure these guys don't overboard. We'll see. Let's start the match.
You're in.
All right, let's get this show on the road. Let's draw for turn. Boo, I guess. Let's play this polluted delta. We'll crack it for an underground sea and simply cast this mana vault. If that resolves, I will pass the turn.
Go to my turn. I'll play a Badlands. I'll tap it to cast a Gamble. Gamble resolves. I'll find this card. I'll discard a card randomly. I'll discard this Sacrifice. I'll cast Mana Crypt. Tap Mana Crypt for a Felwar Stone. And then I pass turn.
Take my turn. Draw a card for turn. Land for turn will be Morphic Pool. I'll tap Morphic Pool. Cast a Fish. Fish resolves, and with 4 cards in hand, I will pass turn.
Untap and draw a card. That helps. Mana Confluence. Tap it, taking a damage. And I cast an Elves of Deep Shadow, and then I pass the turn.
I will untap, draw a card. I will play a command tower and pass the turn.
I will untap. In upkeep, I'll roll for crypts. Odds is damage. I rolled a 6, no damage. Draw for turn. That's pretty spicy. I'll have 1 colorless floating to cast a Dranith. After Dranith, let's have some more fun. Tap a black to cast a Orcish Bowmasters.
You're calling this fun. I'm just gonna remove my creature immediately for you, so you don't have to. Don't say it. Don't say it. Okay, that cash. I don't think anyone's gonna counter it.
Bowmasters resolves, and yes, it will kill your Dorkmons.
It did nothing wrong. The dork.
It existed, and that's wrong.
All right, so this is still at the end of Pontus's turn. He can't hear us right now. Now, what's interesting about Orcish Bowmasters is it's beneficial for me to keep this in, because if I keep drawing cards, it's just going to ping other people. Now, he might just shoot it at me because, as we know, in a previous game, I did that just to him for drawing cards. So I'm willing to take that damage if people start sort of storming off and so forth. I don't know if that's the case in this actual pod, but we'll see. So I am going to pay for fish immediately in this because I don't think it's useful just yet to play Felwar Stone and start doing things because I can't cast my commander and I don't have much else going on. Go ahead and draw a card. We will put a Luxury Suite into play and we'll just pass from there.
Draw a card. Ursa Sagas land drop. This actually survives for a while. Young wolf. It's cute. Don't hurt it, Pontus. I don't. Look at that puppy. I pass to you, Snuske.
Draw a card. That's funny. That's very funny. But I'm going to cast this fish. I will not pay.
All right. Yeah, I'm going to draw a card.
That'll trigger Orcish Bowmasters, and I will kill that doggy.
But the doggy has Undying, and it comes back with a counter. It's now a 2-2. A little bit harder to kill. The young puppy grows.
And the situation hasn't changed. Any non-creature spell will still kill the dog. If fish is okay, I will pass the turn.
Untap, upkeep, roll for crypt. Odds damage. I rolled a 6 again, no damage. Draw. Land for turn will be a plateau. I will cast this Wheel of Misfortune, not paying for any fishes.
I will draw a card.
I will trigger Bowmasters and ping the doggy.
Yep, I'll draw a card as well.
That will trigger Bowmasters again, and I'll kill the doggy.
Are you just mad that I called your commander Voltron here?
No, I'm just setting up another Voltron engine. Wheel of Misfortune resolves. Let's all choose numbers.
Either we all do our own thing, or we all decide to not wheel. And this is not a conversation that's good to have in front of Pontus, because that means he has to pay less life. But if we all decide to go for it, then there's an extra 21 damage coming in, plus a 30-30 type creature coming someone's way.
Right.
I kind of want to wheel, but I do feel that we should not. And if both of you agree that we're not wheeling, then I'm not wheeling either.
I'm down not to wheel. I would love to wheel, but not with an Orcish Bowmasters in play.
I will agree.
Yeah, it's gonna make a massive army, as you said. So it's
gonna outright
me.
kill. It's gonna outright kill someone right now because we have no blockers.
You do know that
And even if
it's me he's punching, right?
That's fine.
I'm just caught.
That still means it's coming someone else's way next turn.
Yeah.
Well, there's damage too, so right, he'd get us. One of us are pretty low, so.
Yeah.
Bonk mons.
So do we just let him pay the one?
I think so. I'm okay with that. Rather that than a huge humongous.
So let's all show our numbers at 3. 1, 2, 3. No one went back on their word. I'm sad, but I will take 4. The outcome of this is that I'm going to take 4 damage and wheel, and no one else is going to wheel or take damage. I will cast a Chromox, not paying for any fishes. That will trigger Bowmasters, and I will ping Rhetoric's face for 1.
I will draw.
That will trigger Orcish Bowmasters, so I will ping your face again, Rhetoric. Chromox ETB, I will imprint a Mayhem Devil, which I'm kind of sad about. Then I'll tap 3 mana to cast a Professional Facebreaker. Facebreaker resolves, and I would like to move to combat. Move to punches and swing 6 at Rhetoric, Dranith at Mons, and Bowmasters at Snusia.
I take the damage.
No blocks.
Oh, no blocks. I'll take the 1.
So 3 creatures deals damage to 3 opponents, so I will make 3 treasures. Post combat main phase, I will crack one of them to cast a Esper Sentinel,
We need a board wipe.
and then I will pass turn.
Take my turn. Upkeep. I will pay for fish. Draw a card. We will put this snow-covered island into play and watch this game run away. Pass turn.
We're dying to Voltron. Draw a card. I really needed that dork, I think. So we could have used Enlightening Tutor to find Mana Crypt to put Archon of Emeria into play. The reason I didn't do that is that we're soon gonna have the Urza Saga trigger anyway, and I do want a board wipe to happen. The other 2 players are playing board wipes. They're drawing cards with their fish, so eventually they could draw into one of those board wipes. So I don't personally want to develop a creature-based strategy right now. I was actually hoping for a top deck that would be something Sylvan Library-ish kinda. Also next turn we're gonna get a Soldering from the Urza Saga anyway, and get the Archon of Emeria then. Could be too late by that, because look at Pontus' board state, that's just too much. But putting an Archon of Emeria into play here doesn't really make me win the game. What makes me win the game is a board wipe from the other 2 players, basically. If Archon of Emeria comes down this turn, it's just too late. Pontus is already more or less mega developed.
Let's go to my turn. Trigger fish. We'll pay for it. And draw for turn. We'll play an Ancient Tomb. Land for turn. I'm going to tap the Ancient Tomb, losing 2 for a Talisman of Dominance.
I will draw.
That will trigger Bowmasters, and you'll take 1 damage, Rhetoric.
How rude.
And I'll draw Esper Sentinel.
This game feels very one-sided. I'm going to pass turn.
I will agree on that, Snuska.
I'm having fun at least. Go to my turn. Upkeep, roll for crypt. All just damage. I rolled a 2, no damage. You see, just everything's going my way. It's wonderful. Draw for turn. Land for turn will be a Mount Doom. I will tap for 3 to cast a Tymna. I will move to combat. Swinging Orc Army at Rhetoric, Facebreaker at Snuskia, and Bowmasters at Mons.
No blocks.
No, nada.
No blocks.
I will make 3 treasures. Then I would like to go to post-combat main phase and draw 3 of Tymna. So I'll pay 3 and draw 3. Then I'll cast Grim Monolith, not paying for any fishes.
Same.
So I'll have 2 Bowmasters trigger. Both will go at Rhetoric. Grim Monolith resolves. I will tap it, have 1 colorless floating to cast a Defense Grid.
Okay, I'll draw.
I'll do the same.
Okay, so 2 draws. I will ping Rhetoric twice.
I'll respond. My break trap. Not paying for fish.
Trigger Esper Sentinel, but Orcus will ping you for 1 first. Rhetoric.
Yep, I'll pay for Esper.
Mind Break Trap exiles Defense Grid. I will take a damage, use my colorless floating to cast a Wishclock Talisman, not paying for any fishes. That will trigger Bowmasters, and I'll ping Rhetoric for 1.
I will also draw and expect to take another arrow right to the skull.
Yes, take another arrow.
This brings back memories. As I remember, someone killed Pontus with an Orcish Bowmaster. This feels like someone is trying to do some payback.
Sure.
Wishclaw resolves. I'll pay 1 to activate it. Is there upgrade?
Yeah, I'll pass.
Wishclaw activation resolves. I will give it to Snuskia. There's many things you might expect me to get here, but I really want to do this thing. I've never done it this way, and it's exciting. I want to do it. I'll cast this Technomancer. Another one? Excuse me?
I've had this whole time.
That's just rude, dude. Trigger Esper Sentinel. And fish.
Fish can resolve.
I will draw. I do.
You drawing will trigger Orcish Bowmasters. Take another damage, Rhetoric. Okay, I will not draw for Esper Sentinel. Technomancer is countered. Or exiled. And then I'll pass the turn.
All right. I'm not going to pay for fish, so untap, upkeep. Fish dies. Okay, let's do a thinky think. land for turn will be Exotic Orchard. I am going to tap Morphic Pool and Snow-Covered Island to cast a Demonic Tutor. Not paying for either.
Your draw will trigger Bowmasters, so take 1 rhetoric.
It's like shooting fish in a barrel at this point.
No, your fish is dead. You attacked it, remember?
Demonic Tutor resolves. All right, then I will cast with 2 mana Underworld Breach.
I will respond to my fish trigger. I'd like to cast a Vampiric Tutor. It's up to Rhetoric.
I draw Vesper.
And my Vampiric Tutor resolves? Sure. I will lose 2 life. I will put this card on top, and we have the fish trigger for Underworld Breach.
I can't pay. Go ahead.
I will draw.
You draw will trigger Bowmasters, and I'll ping Rhetoric's face for 1 more.
I would like to cast a Force of Negation, exiling a Fairy Mastermind that I've had in my hand since turn 1.
All right. As Hamilton might say, I tried to shoot my shot, and that's countered. So that's it. Pass turn.
Untap and draw a card. Now, going to my main phase, this Ursa Saga will evolve. I will find the Soldring. So Pontus, I've noticed that you've played into Mindbreak Trap twice. So I'm gonna help you out. I'm gonna make sure that you don't accidentally play into a Mindbreak Trap. So here's Archon of Emeria to make everything even though I'm already dead. And then here I pass the turn.
Here's what comes of being sleep deprivated and playing with these guys at weird hours. I could have used that Vamp Tutor for something very different, like countering an Archon of Emeria, but I countered a Breach with a Dranith in play that even Rhetoric forgot about. So this is going to be a long one.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. I totally forgot about that. Because if the audience can see my hand now, I had a plan, and that plan would have totally backfired.
I will not pay for the fish. The fish can die. I will draw for turn. I'm going to tap the Ancient Tomb, losing 2, floating 1, tapping the Wish Claw, handing it over to Mons. I will find this card, and then I will no longer have a Wish Claw. I will tap the rest of my mana and overload this Cyclonic Rift.
Trigger Esper Sentinel.
I'm not allowed to pay because I don't have any mana.
I will draw, and then I will just pass.
Yep, I pass for obvious reasons. I'm happy.
I have mixed feelings. I just got a Wish Claw, I just got an Archon of Emeria, but hey, I actually pass too. I want this to happen in the end.
Cyclonic Rift resolves and cleans up Pons' board and a little bit of Mons'. I will play this Oboro as my land for turn and pass my turn.
I will go to my turn. I'll cast a Mana Crypt. 1 floating from Mana Crypt. Cast a Grim Monolith. I'll have 2 colors floating for a Breach.
I thought the Rift would give me another turn. Go ahead.
Breach resolves. I'll cast this Chromox, imprinting Bowmasters. I will shock in a Sacred Foundry, taking 2 damage. I'll cast a Gamble from my graveyard by exiling all other cards in my graveyard. Gamble resolves. Finding this card, and I'll discard a card randomly, discarding a Professional Facebreak. I will use the 2 mana floating to cast a Altar of Dementia. I will tap for 2 mana to cast a Felwar Stone. I'll tap Felwar Stone for red, sacking Mana Crypt, Grim Monolith, and Felwar Stone to cast a Dargo. I will sack Dargo to Altar of Dementia to mill myself for 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So sadly, I milled a Yuldutus, so I have a better line, but I'll still show you the cool line. From here, I can present a loop where I cast the Mana Crypt, exiling 3 cards, tap Mana Crypt to cast Felwar Stone, tap that for red, cast Dargo, sacrifice those 2, and this way I can present a loop where I mill through my library, going +1 card each time. But I have the Yule Lotus, so I could go +20 instead, which is what I should do. So I would like to present a loop where I mill through my library. So once I've milled through my library, I will eventually use LED instead of Yule Lotus, so I can make actual mana as well. Then I will cast the Praetor's Grasp, targeting Snuske and or Rhetoric to find the Thassa's Oracle. And then I will cast it to win the game of Thassa's Oracle, because that's what you commenters love. Good game.
What a game. What a game. Lots of arrows shot at me and bad Sauron. Good game, guys.
We never really got into the game. My dork was killed, and then their opening hands were just too explosive, and we didn't really catch up. But that's how it is when you're last in turn order sometimes.
And we were first in turn order, but that didn't do much for us either. Clunky hand, clunky draws, and the Cycryph didn't give me the extra turn that I hoped for, sadly. Mardu do Mardu.
So sadly, I didn't actually really go for the Voltron plan once expected from me. I was close by locking down the game and just like grinding it out. But yeah, no, Breach is just better. That's why you play Breach in your Voltron decks.